Good morning. My name is Bobby Riles, and I go by she, her pronouns. I know I'm not a very familiar face to you all, and that's because my partner Trish and I just started coming to this church over the summer. So I'm happy to be here and give you my little talk this morning. On this day that we celebrate Pride, I'd like to tell you a little story about my friend Melissa. Melissa came from a small town in California, from a Mormon family, to live in her cousin's guest house across the street from us. We met Melissa when she first arrived. She was a 19-year-old woman with a long ponytail. But as the months went by and we saw Melissa coming and going, her hair was getting incrementally shorter and shorter. She started driving a motorcycle and dressing very androgynously. One day I saw Melissa across the street, and I looked at my partner Tricia and said, "Oh my God, Tricia, Mel is coming out." Not that we buy into stereotypes, but actually I was right. Mel was coming out, and that's what she wanted to be called now. It wasn't long until she discovered that we were a lesbian couple, and she began to gravitate towards us. Before long, Mel was hanging out at our house on the weekends, doing homework from our couch, teaching us new things, asking us questions. But really, what Mel really wanted was community with people like her. One day, Mel asked me about my coming out story, and I was really surprised at how much emotion I still have some 45 years later. I looked at her, and I began to tell her that at her age, I couldn't come out. I was going to college, and I get emotional telling my story, so I apologize for that. I couldn't come out. I was going to college, I still lived at home, and we were immersed in our fundamentalist, evangelical Southern Baptist church. Our lives literally revolved around it. So as I started to figure out my sexuality, I knew for my own sanity and self-preservation that I needed to get a job and get out on my own. I did, and luckily I found a couple of closeted comrades within my church, my friend Scott and my friend Jan. But once moving out, it wasn't long until Jan and I were in a relationship and we got an apartment together. Because after all, you know the joke, right? What does a lesbian take on the second date? Come on. U-Haul. Yes! It was 1982, and Jan and I were now going to the Metropolitan Community Church along with our friend Scott. The Metropolitan Community Church was surprisingly like our Southern Baptist Church, similarly conservative, fundamentalist, and evangelical, with one caveat. And I have to laugh when I say that we were a church made up of gay people, fundamentalist, evangelical gay people. And as an example of what I mean, we would meet at the church on Friday nights, split into groups, and take religious tracts to the gay bars. No kidding. And I'm still a little embarrassed that I ever did that. But it was through that church that we developed community, the same kind of community that Mel was craving to have with me and Tricia. And yet still, none of the three of us could come out. Not me, not Jan, not Scott, beyond our small group of gay friends. Mel looked at me and said, "Why, Bobby?" And I told her that I figured my parents, who I was very close to, would disown me, that my straight friends who talk smack about gay people would surely dump me. And I told her I thought there was a strong chance I would lose my job, which I needed for survival's sake. Mel was flabbergasted. She couldn't even conceive of a time like this. Then I went on to tell her about a night that I came home from work to find Jan and Scott on the steps that led to our apartment. They were both visibly upset, and when I approached, they handed me a magazine that had a cover title that read something like AIDS, the rare cancer killing homosexuals. My heart sank. It wasn't long after that night that Scott died of AIDS. And a quarter of our Metropolitan Community Church were sick and dying. There was death all around me. It was a heavy time for me at 22. Not only that, there were headlines that read things like, AIDS, God's wrath upon homosexuals, with a big question mark. And then me, like, actually questioning if it was, in fact, God's wrath. Mel looked at me astonished and said, "You know, Bobby, I've heard about AIDS, but I had no idea it was an epidemic and that so many people had died. And I think it's so scared that you felt so sad. I think it's so sad that you felt so scared to come out." Mel had no idea at all. And I looked at her and I said, "Mel, come on, learn your history. It's so important. You are standing on my shoulders." Fast forward a month or so, and Trish and I were looking for a documentary to watch one Saturday night, like we love to do, and we came across a really good one, The Death and Life of Marsha P. Johnson. Now, I would wager that very few, if any of you, have ever even heard of Marsha P. Johnson. How many? Oh, that's because you're UUs. Yeah, I got it. But I hadn't, and I'm a queer person. So to tell you who Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera are, is they were transvestite sex workers in New York City. And I use the word transvestite here because that's how they referred to themselves back then. They worked the streets near the gay bars in Greenwich Village, and one fateful night in June of 1969, the night that police raided the Stonewall Inn, a mob-owned gay club, Marsha had had enough of the police brutality against the gay and trans community. Marsha, her friend Sylvia, and a group of drag queens led riots against police that night in the streets, and for 6 more days straight. And this was the birth of the gay power movement, what we're celebrating today, Pride. That's what we call it today, is Pride. And as I watched this movie, I thought to myself, oh my God, Bobby, learn your history. It's so important. You are standing on the shoulders of Marsha P. Johnson so that Mel can stand on yours. We would not have Pride today if it weren't for Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. And this is the part I love the most. Unlikely heroes, drag queen, sex workers, homeless. And we owe them a debt of gratitude today for leading the charge that gave me and Mel the rights that we have today. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Bobby. And next, we're going to have a video testimony from Karen Schultz.
Hi, my name is Karen Schultz, and my pronouns are she and her. Coming out wasn't a single moment for me. It was a journey of self-acceptance. Growing up, I felt the weight of expectations about who I should be, while knowing deep down I was different. For years, I wrestled with that truth, afraid of how it would change my life. But eventually I realized living in fear and silence was harder than facing the world as my true self. When I came out, I was terrified of how my family and friends would react. There were sleepless nights and constant rehearsals in my mind. But once I said the words, "This is who I am," it was as if a huge weight lifted off me. While some people accepted it right away, others took some time. Through it all, I learned the power of being honest with myself, and that's when everything started to shift. Through this experience, I learned so much about myself and the people in my life. I've learned that what it means to be brave, even when you're terrified. I've learned that true authenticity is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, even if it comes with a risk. Harvey Milk, one of the greatest advocates for LGBTQ+ rights, said, "Hope will never be silent." He understood the power of coming out, not just for ourselves, but for others who still live in fear. By being visible, we can show the world we exist and deserve love and respect. Milk believed that when people see us for who we are, those old myths and prejudices can finally crumble. That's why Pride is so important. It's not just a celebration. It's a recognition of the fight for equality, and it honors those who came before us. Pride is about standing up and saying, "I am here, I'm proud." For me, attending Pride events is just a reminder of the power of community and visibility. It's a place where we can be our authentic selves. When I think about Pride, I think about generations before me, people like Harvey Milk, who didn't have the freedom or safety to live openly. They faced so much discrimination, hatred, and even violence just for being who they were. And yet they fought for visibility, for rights, for the ability to exist without shame. Milk believed in the power of visibility. He said, quote, "Every gay person must come out. Once they realize that we are indeed their children, that we are indeed everywhere, every myth, every lie, every innuendo will be destroyed once and for all," end quote. For me, that's why Pride is so important. It's a celebration of visibility, of being seen, and of rejecting the shame that once kept us in the shadows. Every time we come out, every time we show up to Pride, we are dismantling the myths, the lies that have held our community back for so long. For me, Pride is also deeply personal. It's a reminder I no longer live in fear. I no longer have to hide or compromise who I am. Pride is about being unapologetic, about loving myself fully. It's about walking through the world with my head held high, knowing that I deserve to take up space just as I am. When I attend Pride events, I feel a sense of belonging that I don't always experience in other parts of my life. It's a space where people can be their true selves without judgment, where we can share in each other's joy, strength, and resilience. Pride reminds me that I'm a part of something bigger, a global community that fights for equality, dignity, and love. Pride is also a call to action. It's a reminder that there are so many people in the world who aren't able to come out, who face fear, discrimination, or violence every day. It reminds me of my responsibility to advocate for those who can't yet stand up for themselves, whether it's through voting, activism, or simply supporting someone through their own journey. Pride calls on us to continue the work that was started long before we were here. To anyone struggling with their identity, take your time, know that you're not alone, and that journey to living openly and authentically is worth every moment. Pride is for all of us. It is for the ones who came before us, the ones here now, and the ones who will come after. It's a celebration of who we are, and a reminder that we are enough. As Harvey Milk said, all young people, regardless of sexual orientation or identity, deserve a safe and supportive environment in which to achieve their full potential. Pride is a reminder of that promise, and it's a commitment to keep fighting until we're all free to live authentically and safely. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Karen. All right. So Karen was quoting Harvey Milk there a lot, beautifully. And this next song has an important role in Pride. It was written by Holly Near after Harvey's assassination. To keep people on the streets peaceful instead of violent, strategically peaceful as people took to the streets. So let's check in with the parade again. Let's send our intentions to them again through singing. And this is probably our last chance to stand up in the service. So if you'd like to stand while we sing, let's do that. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are all in this together. We are all in this together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are all in this together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a peaceful, loving people. We are a peaceful, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a peaceful, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. Let's all just hum to them now. Thank you all. Please be seated. And we have 2 more reflections for you today. First is a video testimony from Jan Kaplan.
My name is Jan Kaplan. I've been in a committed relationship with Helen Walker for 38 years, married for 11. We both use she, her pronouns. I've been thinking about words of late, how some words that we have owned and cherished have been co-opted by others and now feel tainted. You know what I mean. Patriotism, for example, freedom, Republican, and pro-life. What does that even mean? Does it mean you support universal health care and gun control and wearing masks during the pandemic? I don't know. It's just so confusing to me. But in celebration of Phoenix Pride Festival this month, I want to focus on the word marriage. For far too long, the word marriage was owned by most of you, and exclusively under the law to involve only a male and a female individual who wanted to form a legal union. One wonders why the realm of religion was able to co-opt this word rather than it being absorbed into our civil law as a contractual agreement between 2 people. I know that many of you never gave it much thought that when you got married in Ohio or Kansas or wherever, you were automatically considered married in whatever state you moved or traveled to. Your spousal rights in state number 1 automatically preserved your spousal rights in states numbers 2 through 50. But that was not true for others of us until 9 years ago. We did not have equal protection under the law. Unlike some of our friends, Helen and I had no desire to get married before it was truly legal throughout the land. But in November 2013, we were traveling to Minnesota, our home state, me for work and Helen to join me for a reunion with our old women's work group. They always griped when it was their turn to host us, as there's nothing to do in Rochester, Minnesota. But alas, on August 1st, 2013, Minnesota approved same-sex marriage. Our friends were ecstatic. I think less for us than for the fact that they now had something to do. They could plan a wedding and a reception. Well, we had a great time. The county recorder even waived our 1-week waiting period after applying for a license. I guess they figured that after 27 years of commitment, this was not exactly a shotgun wedding. We had a raucous bridesmaids party the night before. And the morning of, as we were struggling to get our rings off so we could put them on again, rings we had worn for 27 years, we both announced we were nervous and just wanted to get it over with. Our friends were just delighted, saying that we were typical nervous brides. And then there was the moment that Reverend Carroll pronounced us spouses. And it was an amazing moment, amazing in its contradiction. In the moment, I felt grown up. It felt important. It felt different. It felt like a statement to the universe. And here I thought we'd already made that statement on our own, without the need for the state to endorse us as humans who are free to choose who we love. I can't believe how glorious this feels. How could anyone deny us this simple act? How could anyone think that this is something that hurts them? And in the same moment, I felt, oh my gosh, this is nothing. I am the same person as I was a second ago. We are the same good people who care about each other and our friends, who vote in every election, who take care of our house, who put the garbage out on Thursday, and who spend far too much time working. We are the same as we were a second ago, before we were married. This is so nothing. Why is this even any kind of a threat to anyone else? And then it was over, and we flew back to Arizona. We got off the plane, and we're no longer married. And it is a longer story about what happened at work. You should know that it made me cry in anger and frustration. But you know, we had our reception at UUCP. We had wedding cake and Prosecco, and we stood up here among you, and you applauded, and we just cried. That is beloved community. Same-sex marriage became legal in the United States on June 26, 2015, with the Supreme Court's landmark 5-4 decision in Obergefell versus Hodges, only 5-4. I remember being in New Mexico with my sister at the time, and I heard the news. I called Helen. I asked if we needed to go downtown to the courthouse to get married again, or just didn't know if in that moment we were truly married everywhere. So why is this important? Why are we talking about this? After the Supreme Court revoked the constitutional right to abortion in 2022 with the Dodd decision, Justice Clarence Thomas argued in a concurring opinion that the Supreme Court should reconsider its past rulings, including same-sex relationships and same-sex marriage. There are just so many issues that demand your attention, your support. Racial justice, gun control, environmental justice, housing affordability, LGBTQ plus equality. These issues all go together in support of a truly pro-life affirming, life-giving agenda. Listen to the words and tell people to mind their own damn business.
Well, this last reflection is going to be for me, and honestly, I don't know how I'm going to follow up after that. Thank you, Bobby, for leaving this. I'll just give myself applause, and that'll be good. No. When I came out in Savannah, Georgia, at the age of 28, I quickly found myself in a new and scary existence. Until that point, I had spent my entire life in a conservative faith that had become my career and entire life's focus. That faith would not accept my identity and even felt the need to physically distance themselves from me, or rather from this new me. The community that had formed around Savannah's Pride Festival quickly became my new community and home. This new community showed me an acceptance that I can never express the value of. Muffin, an elderly black trans woman who called me daughter from the first moment we met, helped show me my own value and helped me find the pride in my own identity. Her example of defiantly choosing joy at every turn still inspires me to do the same. Muffin helped open doors so that many more could walk into the loving light of community. Pride is a celebration of this community. It's our answer to a world that would offer us prohibition in place of our joyful celebration. Pride is unconditional respect and dignity for all in our communities. Pride is needed. It is a flamboyant, possibly even gaudy display of active rebellion. Pride is just another example of holy ground. Sacred glitter and blessed costumes are all part of the worship there. It's all to honor us, not individually, but collectively. Our participation is an active invitation for all seeking community, like a lost trans girl in Savannah, Georgia, being welcomed in by the beautiful woman they call Muffin.